After several miscarriages, I was enjoying what I thought was an uneventful pregnancy. Things were just moving along. When I had what is considered a normal pre-screening test, I got the results from that test from my doctor, and it said that I was at risk for something called trisomy 18. It's when the 18th chromosome has a third copy instead of just 2 copies. When I first got the diagnosis that I was at risk for trisomy 18, my obstetrician told me that this was something that was incompatible with life. I had not even heard that terminology, incompatible with life, that most babies who have trisomy 18 die in utero or shortly after birth, and that those who do live to a live birth generally have to be institutionalized. He's rolling through other statistics and other information. It's rolling through my mind, incompatible with what life? What does that mean? Does that mean that she's already dead? Does that mean that she can only live for a period of time? What do they consider life? Questions that were just running through my mind over and over again. I was just looking for somebody else to give me a different perspective on this child I was carrying, because I knew that baby was alive, and I wanted to hear somebody talk to me about who she was as a person and recognize that she was my baby and not just a statistic. I wanted to talk to a parish priest.
Having had the experience with Nancy and her pregnancy and Angela, definitely gave me the confirmation that in every situation God will reveal himself, and reveal himself in a miraculous way, in a beautiful way. Doctors can give them all the medical information, but I think they may be limited. They may be just looking at the situation from a physical or a medical perspective. And I think what the parents really need is to speak to someone who can address the broader reality.
It was an absolutely positive experience for me. Father Lee Fangmeyer was amazing. He was like a lifeline. I felt like all we had heard for the past few days was really bad news. And Father Lee was so kind and so welcoming and very empathetic. I look back on the situation with Angela and I see mostly blessings and certainly lots of graces. But I think I can't emphasize how big a role you played in making that an amazingly wonderful spiritual experience for us when I didn't think that that was really possible when we got the diagnosis.
I think the first advice that I would give to parents facing this kind of situation, a difficult pregnancy, to say yes to the child that's been given to them, to turn to Our Lady to pray. Why? Because the Annunciation shows us, I think, the method that they need to be aware of from that moment. What was asked of Mary was simply to say yes to a situation. But to say yes means to, like Mary, to accept what's present in the moment with trust and love, that God has a plan, and that what we see, what Mary was faced with, and her yes made Christ present.
The thing that was so important to me was he said that most parents want for their children to go to heaven, and that Angela, we had named our daughter Angela, was going to go to heaven. And even though she wasn't going to have the life we envisioned for her, we were going to be able to pass her from our hands to God's hands. I think it's really important for anyone who's a member of the clergy to understand how big a role they play in talking, counseling, supporting, and praying with a family who receives a poor prenatal diagnosis. I don't think you can ever underestimate how important that role is.
I would also say to the priest, don't be crippled by the announcement of what's quote-unquote bad news, because there's a reality that's greater than that from the very beginning. Just completely trust that God is present. He's present right now. There's nothing where He is not going to be present. He hasn't abandoned them. And so you look at this situation with that awareness that asking God to reveal Himself to yourself first and then to them, that do you trust that they that God is using this for a reason, and that the goodness and the light and love of God is going to be revealed. So not to be afraid, the first thing, to not be afraid or shrink from or pull back from this, but enter into the drama of the situation with complete confidence that Christ is going to reveal himself. And he does have something for them. You have to have faith, knowing that there is nothing that is so terrible in the world that he cannot overcome with his love.
What the clergy is asked to do is to reframe the person's idea of what this pregnancy is going to be, to help them look at the child that they were expecting and accept the child they're going to have, support them, and let God take over from there with those graces. Because a priest, a deacon, anyone with that type of background, working with a family, can help that family go from a completely devastating experience to a life-enriching, life-affirming experience that over time grows to be the most valuable information they ever received.